Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Mads and today I am bringing you a book haul. It's a little bit of a delayed book haul, I'm not gonna lie. I actually bought these books right before Christmas, but I haven't had a chance to share them with you guys. So I'm gonna be sharing them with you right now today. You know all those times I said I was on a book buying ban? I was. However, one of my all time favorite bookstores were having a buy five, get five free for all their used books in like fiction. I couldn't not do it. So I made my dad drive me there and we just got some books. So these are all used from Second and Charles, or except for two of them, which I got elsewhere. One of them is not used. I got that one new, so it wasn't included in the deal. But when you see it, you will know why it was worth it. So I can't wait to dive into it with you. Today, I have a Christmas mug for no reason other than the fact that my M1 is dirty, and I have my chai because it's still cold out. Drink of choice and talking about books. Life can't get any better than it is right now. Okay, so this is a really big book haul. I think I have about 13 books to share with you all, so I am gonna try and do my best explaining them. I'm gonna be starting with the present that Laurel got me for Christmas. If you don't know, Laurel is my best friend and roommate, and for Christmas, she got me Chalice of the Gods. Look how pretty it is. I need the rest of the series in these hardcover editions now, though I will not be getting rid of my current paperbacks because I don't think they even sell those anymore. So those are staying in my possession forever. But recently, Rick Riordan released a sixth book to Percy Jackson and the Olympians named Chalice of the Gods, where Percy has to go on a quest for the gods to get recommendation letters from them to go to college. He just wants to have a normal life, and he has to do this like extravagant thing in order to have a normal life. First of all, this one is so small, and I know I'm just gonna fly through it when I eventually do read it. I wouldn't even be mad if there's no plot to it, as long as I get my dose of Percy and Annabeth, we will be so fine. Like, I really don't care what happens in this book. I just am so glad to have a new Percy Jackson book to read. I haven't had a new Percy Jackson and the Olympians book to read since I was like 12. So I am so excited to read this. Also, I almost forgot to mention my brother and my sister-in-law for Christmas got me this really cool mic. You actually can't see it right now. They got me these really cool Bluetooth mics that connect to my phone because I do film on my phone, and so obviously the sound quality isn't always the best. But with these, it will hopefully get so much better. So thank you, Megan and Jeremiah. I adore you both. And now I'm hoping to use them from here on out and hopefully get just better sound in general. Okay, back to the haul. This next book isn't really included in my giant haul. This one I got a couple days before. My hometown recently opened up a new indie bookstore, which is so cute, and it honestly is just adorable, and I think they're doing really well so far. So I knew I just had to go check it out, and because I was there, I thought, you know what, let's buy myself a book. And, really, it was for their benefit. If you think about it, I was doing it to help a small business, okay? It wasn't for me. It was for them. But I really did like their selections, and I felt like they had a good mixture of popular books and lesser known books and local authors available there, which I just thought was really cool. When I was there, I got Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This one has been blowing up around Bookstagram lately and on BookTube. The sequel actually just recently came out, Ruthless Vows, I believe is what it's called. So I knew it was about time I read this book. So I believe it's kind of like has a little bit of magical realism. It's about these two characters who are in the middle of wartime, and they're both journalists, kind of near the battlefront, I think, and they start writing letters to each other by accident, and they just magically appear to each other. So they're writing magical letters to each other in this war. I think there are gods involved, and I've just heard amazing things about the romance and about the characters. So I can't wait to dive into it. And I also didn't realize how actually thin it was. I thought it was going to be a lot longer, so I'm not going to be mad about that. Yeah, it's like 350 pages. not too bad. I don't know when I'm gonna read this, but you guys will know. You will know when I finally do read this because I will probably be shouting about it, and I'm so excited to read it. So this next book is one that I got at Second and Charles, brand new. So I didn't get a deal on it, but I saw it, and before I even got there, I told myself if I see this book, even if it's new, which it probably will be, I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm just gonna get it. And it honestly wasn't even that pricey. It was a fairly good deal for a glorious hardcover. And so I got Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I've been hearing so much about this book, and every time I hear something about it, it makes me want to read it more. And I genuinely don't know if it's YA or adult, and honestly, I don't care. I like both. I can do both. I'm just excited to read it because I heard the romance in this is just like, I haven't had a good heart-stopping romance, I feel like, in forever. I need a good fantasy, heart-dropping, just high-stakes romance. And so I feel like this will give me what I need. And so I'm so excited for this. If you don't know, I've heard it kind of described similar to Hunger Games. This world is kind of split between people with like powers and people who are powerless. And this girl is pretending to be somebody with powers and has to sign up for this competition, I believe. And things go down. I don't know. I've heard it has some politics, but the romance is really good, and I think it might be a little bit of Rivals to Lovers. Not entirely sure. I really don't know too much about it other than the fact that I don't think I've heard anything bad about it. So it just must be perfection, and I can't wait to confirm that theory. Okay, now it's time to dive into the 5 for 5 book deal that I jumped on, and they are mostly all YA, but there are 2 adult books in here. They're not going to be shared in any specific order. They're just literally on a pile on the side of my couch right now, and I'm just going to be grabbing off the top and sharing them so you can share my joy. One of the books that I got, I think it was one of the last ones I grabbed, was Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This one is a part of the Dark Artifices series. I will admit, I've only read her first series. Oh, what's that one called? The Mortal Instruments. I've only read The Mortal Instruments and I did not love it. But I own all 3 of the Clockwork series and I haven't read them. And I was running out of time and I needed another book to get, and I saw this one and I thought, well, I've heard her books just kind of get better as she goes, and they're not all like the Mortal Instruments series, so I might as well give it a try. So kind of on a whim, I decided to get this one, but this follows the world of Shadowhunters. I don't know exactly which characters these ones follow. Oh, it follows Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne, which I think we get introduced to near the end of the Mortal Instruments series. I could be so wrong about that though. That could be 2 completely different characters I'm thinking about, but I think it's those 2, so that's honestly kind of cool. It's just gonna be cool to dive back into this world again. It honestly is a really cool world. So we're gonna see how this one goes when I read it. I don't know when that'll happen, but it'll happen someday. Next, I got Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. I honestly didn't know what this one was about until I saw it at the store. All I knew was that I've seen it around and I've heard good things about it, and it's just a adult contemporary, probably a realistic fiction book, and I've heard good things about it. I've heard some mid things about it too, but I thought I would give it a try and see how it goes. So this book is just about this like hostage situation in this open house, and I'm pretty sure they just all end up giving each other therapy. I don't know why, that just sounds so intriguing. Like, it's so kind of unexpected, and I feel like this book in general is probably just going to be filled with so many unexpected things, and I can't wait to read it. If I'm ever in the mood for like a realistic fiction, there's a word for it, and I can't think of the word right now. If I'm ever in the mood for this kind of genre where, I'm sure there's not going to be like romance, it's just about people being people, will be the first book that I grab, because I really want to see my thoughts about this and see what the heck happens in here, because it sounds so intriguing. I also finally broke down and got The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's so tiny, and for the longest time I've been putting off getting it because I feel like I can never find a great price for it, even when it's used, because it's like $7 for this tiny little book. That doesn't feel like a good deal, but I thought, hey, there's this amazing deal, this is the time to get it. So I finally got Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I did get the movie cover. I really did want the non-movie cover, like just the traditional cover, but the ones that they had weren't in great condition, and so I just decided to grab the one that was in the best condition. And that just happened to be the movie cover, which I'm not going to be opposed to, only because they are adorable and I really, really love the movie. And I'm really looking forward to reading this book and seeing how it compares to the movie and seeing what's different in here. Because I'm sure anything that's in the movie will be just deeper and more meaningful in the book. So I really can't wait to get a little bit more of Charlie's story because Charlie's an angel and I just adore this movie. I can't wait to read it. I've been wanting to get it forever and now I have it. And obviously it'll be such a quick read. Yeah, 213 pages. Nothing. I could do that. I could so do that. So I can't wait to finally read this book. So this next one is an adult book along with Anxious People, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I honestly haven't heard that much about this book. Like, I've seen people reading it every now and then, but I don't think I've ever really seen anybody's thoughts on it. I just got it because one, the cover is just gorgeous, and two, the synopsis sounded really good, and I feel like I don't read a lot of books with a dominant Mexican culture and a Mexican protagonist, and so I honestly love the chance to be able to dive into a book like that. So this book follows our main character, Naomi, who gets a letter from her cousin who was just recently married, and Naomi has to go to the High Place, which is a house in the Mexican countryside, and she kind of gets involved in a lot of these things and has to figure out this world, and she doesn't trust people, and she has to figure out who to trust, and it just sounds really interesting. And it sounds like it's in a setting that I don't typically see a lot, or that I haven't really read before, so I think it'll be a really good take on this sort of plot. So it keeps falling out like this. I'm holding it and the book just falls right out of the sleeve. Anyways, I can't wait to read this book and see just what my thoughts are about it, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. I have really high hopes for this. I know it's probably not going to be heavy on the romance. It's probably going to be more on like identity and stuff like that. But honestly, those books can hit so hard sometimes, and I really do love them. If I'm not in the mood for like a die-hard romance, obviously. But I'm excited to read this book and just see what I get from it. I also got Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. This one I mainly got because I've seen the cover around. I haven't heard much about it, but I've seen the cover and I knew automatically that I needed it because look at it. It's just gorgeous and it looks so like magical. One thing I do hate, all the books that were available for this one, they were all used, but they were all like used. Like they weren't in the best condition, which kind of irked me. So I grabbed the one that was in the best condition and it still isn't the best, but it's still okay. I will appreciate what I get, especially when it's at such a great deal. This book is about our main character, Zosa, who's like going through a rough time in life and gets hired with this magical hotel and kind of has to figure out all these mysteries unraveling at the heart of the hotel. And it honestly just sounds amazing. Like this magical hotel, it kind of low-key gives me Caraval vibes a little bit. Obviously a little bit different, but I don't know, something about it gives me a little bit of Caraval vibes. So I can't wait to see what magic and mysteries lie in this book. And so this one is a YA. I don't know exactly what the genres are involved with it, but I'm pretty sure it does have some magical realism, if not fantasy, and then of course some mystery too. Next is a book I have read before, but I was sharing it with a friend and then we ended up kind of drifting apart and the friend still had it and so she still has it and so now it's just in her possession and so I needed to get one for myself, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Guys, when I tell you I adore this book, I adore this book. I read it so long ago. I don't even know when, probably my sophomore year in high school, and it was the first queer book I've ever read. And then of course I watched the movie and it was the first like dominantly queer movie that I watched, and I just loved it so much, and it definitely set me on this path of loving queer books and getting to Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is my all-time favorite book. So this book is honestly just, it has a special place in my heart and I just absolutely adore it. And so I definitely want to reread it again this year because I have it in my hands now. Maybe I'll even annotate it just because I can, and just because it's been so long since I've read it and I just love it so much. And I'm so glad I was also able to get this cover of it too because this is the cover that I read, and nothing against the Love, Simon cover to it. It's just I don't love movie adaptation covers on the books because it's like it was a book first, keep it the same. I'm just so happy I was able to get a good version and good condition, and it just makes me so happy. Like I get to read this again, and I know it's not going to be like it was the first time around, but it still is just going to hit so hard, and I really love this book. And if you haven't read it, I think you should go check it out. I know it's probably not for everybody, but the time that I read it, it was perfect for me. I'm thriving because I love this book so, so much. Next is the last book in a series that I have read the first book of, but it has been one that's been on my shelf for a really long time, and I couldn't find the last book anywhere. And when I looked it up on Amazon, it was weirdly expensive for a paperback. So I saw it, and I just jumped right on it, and that is Rebellion from the 100 series. This is the fourth and final book of the series, and this does have a show adaptation to it, so you may know what it's about, but it's this futuristic version of Earth where there was a nuclear war and everything kind of just got blown up and dosed with radiation, and so a lot of people moved to space. But they are running out of resources in space and they need to send people back down. So they send these 100 juvenile delinquents to Earth to kind of test it out. It's just like no risk to them, basically. But this book series just follows the adventures and hardships of those 100 teenagers who got sent to the ground. And honestly, it's so good. I love the show, even if the later seasons get a little bit weird. I enjoyed the first book. It's not my favorite book series. I'm honestly mainly reading it for the characters, because I just adore the characters, and the books are very different from the show, and it's kind of interesting to see what they changed in the show. So I need to finish this book series, maybe even restart the show, especially because I never saw the last season for very specific reasons that I will not dive into right now. I can't wait to finish the series and get more of King and Queen, Bellamy and Clark, which is probably one of my OG favorite couples when I was a kid. It went Percabeth and then Bellamy and Clark, right underneath it. I adore them. And I remember being an 8th grader and just going feral for this show and just waiting for them to get together. So I honestly will read the entire book series just for them. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Okay, so these next couple of books are definitely lesser known books. I really do love going to Second and Charles and taking my time to browse. I do find some pretty obscure books. Typically they're in the realm of YA science fiction because I feel like there's a lot of random obscure books in that genre. And they may not be amazing all the time, but you never know. So I love to find these little hidden gems. And so these next 3 are all little hidden gems. First up, I have These Rebel Waves by Sarah Rash. Don't know how to say it. I apologize. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. But so I got this one, and I think this is a YA fantasy, and obviously I don't know much about it. I haven't heard other people describe it, so I don't know how to describe it myself. I'm just going to read the little synopsis so you can get a taste for what this book is about, and so you can know what I knew when I bought it, because I know literally nothing about this book. Ooh, okay, there's 3 characters, and I love a good trio, a good fantastical trio. I feel like those hit so hard sometimes, and you can have this little mini found family, and it's so cute, and I love a good trio. Adeluna is a soldier. 5 years ago, she helped the magic-rich island of Grace Lorraine overthrow its oppressor, Argrid, a country ruled by religion. But adjusting to post-war life has not been easy. When Argridian delegate vanishes during peace talks with Grace Lorraine's new council, Argrid demands brutal justice, but Lou suspects something dangerous is at work. Devereaux is a pirate. That's honestly probably why I bought this book, just because the character's a pirate. As one of the stream raids who run rampant on Grace Lorraine, he scavenges the island's magic plants and sells them on the black market. But after Argrid accuses raiders of the diplomat's abduction, Vex becomes a target. An expert navigator, he agrees to help Lou find the Argridian, but the truth they uncover could be deadlier than any war. Sounds about right. Bennett, I think? Bennett is a heretic, the crown prince of Argrid. He harbors a secret obsession with Grace Lorraine's forbidden magic. When Ben's father, the king, gives him a shocking task of reversing Argrid's fear of magic, Ben has to decide if one prince can change a devout country or if he's building his own pyre. As conspiracies arise, Lou, Vex, and Ben will have to decide who they really are and what they are willing to become for peace. That honestly sounds really good, and I think this book has a lot of potential. It just sounds so good. It has a great trio. It's YA fantasy. It has a pirate, a prince who's into magic, and a soldier. So these characters just seem interesting. I love how they all have long names but cute nicknames. I don't know why, it's just so cute. I'm really looking forward to reading this book, and if I love it, I will get everybody else to read it, and then I'll blow it up. I don't think I have that power, but I can try. So I have 2 books left, and they are part of a duology, I believe. I know I just like randomly bought this like series basically without really knowing anything about it. So I'm hoping it pays off. I was running out of books to get because there was this amazing deal. So I had to get 10 used books, and I had to find 10 used books. But this was the second day of their sale, so they were so cleared out. And I was running off fumes by the end, and so I decided to get both of them because why not? Next up, I have Endgame, The Calling, by James Frey and Niels Johnson Shelton, 2 authors. You don't see that often. You know what? I'm just going to read you the synopsis, and hopefully it doesn't take forever, and hopefully I don't lose my ability to read halfway through it. But that is a chance that we are willing to take right now. 12,000 years ago they came. They descended from the sky amid smoke and fire and created humanity and gave us rules to live by. They needed gold, and they built our earliest civilizations to mine it for them. When they had what they needed, they left. But before they left, they told us that someday they would come back, and when they did, a game would be played. A game that would determine our future. This is Endgame. For 10,000 years, the lines have existed in secret, the 12 original lines of humanity. Each had a player prepared at all times. They had trained generation after generation after generation in weapons, languages, history, tactics, disguise, assassination. Together, the players are everything: strong, kind, ruthless, loyal, smart, stupid, ugly, lustful, mean, fickle, beautiful, calculating, lazy, exuberant, weak. They are good and evil, like you, like all. This is Endgame. When the game starts, the players will have to find 3 keys. The keys are somewhere on Earth. The only rule of their endgame is that there are no rules. Whoever finds the keys first wins the game. Endgame: The Calling is about the hunt for the first key, and just as it tells the story of the hunt for a hidden key, written into the book is a puzzle. It invites readers to play their own endgame and to try and solve the puzzle. Whoever does will open a case filled with gold. Alongside the puzzle will be a revolutionary there's a mobile game along with it. I mean, that's kind of cool. I'm skipping that part. Will exuberance beat strength, stupidity top kindness, laziness thwart beauty? Will the winner be good or evil? There's only one way to find out. Play, survive, solve. People of the Earth, Endgame has begun. That honestly sounds pretty cool, and that's probably why I got it, because it sounds really interesting, and I love a good competition. And 12 characters, I feel like, is a fairly good amount, because you're going to see a lot of different kinds of characters in that. So I'm looking forward to reading this when I do. I don't know when I will, but I am looking forward to it when I get to it. I have seen this on the shelf so many times when I go to Second and Charles, and I just kind of like walk by it, but this time I stopped and looked at it, and I'm like, well, now I have to get it. So I will let you know when I read it and let you know the thoughts. Also, it's super shiny. And so the second book is upside down right now. The second book is called Sky Key, an Endgame novel, which is probably them finding the second key. I don't know. Oh, on the cover it says 9 players remain. People die in this one. Confirmed. I'm going to get attached to whoever dies. Watch. It always happens. So anyways, those are my last 2 books in my book haul. They are a little series, little duology. Maybe it's not a duology. Maybe there's a third one. I genuinely don't know. If there's a third one, then I guess I'll have to track it down if I really enjoy it. This may not be a duology. This may be like a series or a trilogy. And I just said duology because I just happen to have the first 2. I was uninformed. That was my bad. Anyways, I got the beginning of this series, and that concludes my book haul. And I am about to finish my chai to finish off the video. Perfect timing. Life is wonderful. Okay, that concludes my really big book haul. I typically don't have book hauls this big, but guys, when it's a buy 5 get 5 deal, what do you want from me? You can't expect anything more from me. I bought this all for like $85, which, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. But for this many books, it's honestly pretty good, so I'm not going to complain. And of course, one of them was a gift, so I didn't have to pay for that one because my amazing roommate and best friend got it for me for Christmas. So thank you all for watching. Please let me know if you've read any of these books, especially some of the lesser known books. I would love to hear your thoughts about them, or just encourage me to read them, because if you push me to read them, I'll probably read them faster. It's really easy to get me to read things. Thank you all for watching. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe below, and I will see you all next week with whatever video I decide to do. Bye!